Alright, well, I did my oil change when I first got this second gen, and I figured out real quick that I think I'm spoiled from my first gens because changing the oil filter is real easy on those bikes. But this one you got to take the peg off and the brake off and the bar that holds the peg. All that stuff's got to come off just to get the cover off to get the filter out. And I was out on one of the forums, the Virago forums, and somebody posted a picture of a second gen and it had a remote mount oil filter, and I was like, now that's an idea right there. Well, it works out pretty good for me because I already make the billet covers that have the ports for the oil cooler, so all I got to do is, instead of putting the orifice in here, I just need to put an undrilled one, and bam, I can put an oil filter on there and have it remote mount. So with all that, all I really need to do is figure out how to make a bracket for this little head you can buy, and then they also make a nice shiny chrome filter that'll fit on there. We just got to figure out how to make a bracket, mount that thing up, do some plumbing, and we should have something set up for a remote mount. So we'll go out to the garage and get set up to see if we can make a bracket. Alright, so I've done a little bit of playing trying to figure out how to make a bracket that'll hold that oil filter. And so I was doing a little origami here. I think I can use just a flat piece of steel and then fold it up in various different ways and make a bracket that can hold the filter. And what I want to do is not mount it to the motor because all those bolts are pretty small, but right there where that foot peg goes, there's two big nice bolts, and I think I can mount to there and then come up beside it and tuck that filter in there. So from our little origami template, I have made a metal version out of some a little bit better than 1/8 inch thick steel that I had laying around the shop. So now what I got to do is bend it, but it's really hard to bend and get sharp angles on it. So one of the easy tricks for bending metal that's thick, if you don't have a thick metal bender, is to actually score the lines that you want to bend and then bend them down, and then I'll weld those back up and we'll have a nice strong bracket. So let's get set up over here and score these lines out on where I want to do my bends and see if we can't make us a metal bracket. Alright, so with our lines scored, maybe they're deep enough, now we just got to do a little bit of bending. There we go. So now we got our little bracket. We'll be back once we check it on the bike. Alright, so back over to the bike. Now we got to take the peg off to test it out. Alright, so with our bracket all bent into shape, what it's going to do is go right into here. So we're going to bolt her back up and check the fit. Looks like she's clearing everything pretty good. Just clears the exhaust. Just a little bit right there for the starter motor. So let me go get me a pen and we'll mark where we need to notch out. Now all we got to do is weld that up and we'll be in pretty good shape. Alright, so we got our little corner notched out so it clears right there, and I also took a little sweep right there to clear the bar. So now everything's clearing. We've cleared the pipe and we're sitting in there good. So now all I got to do is put my filter up on there, and there's where it'll sit. So that indeed looks pretty nice, sitting right there. Alright, and that should line up my fittings and all my plumbing so that it'll come in here to my other cooler cover, and we'll be pretty clean on our piping. Alright, so now we just got to take it back off there weld all that up just like it is, and away we'll go. And there we go. Now we just need to put it back on there and see if it fits, and then give it a little bit of black paint, and we'll be ready to go. All right, so now all we got to do is plumb it up. And there we go. Now we got our remote mount filter installed. So all we got to do is put some oil back in it, and we'll be ready to get this thing primed up and get it going. So let's put our brake back on, and we'll call this job done. Alright, so the motor's fully warmed up now. We can see on our rear cylinder temp, we're running up in the 200s, so plenty hot. So we're at idle, so about 1,000 RPM. And if we look down here at our gauge, we're running right at about 0.15 MPa, which is about 21 PSI. And it's pumping oil real well. That little booger is actually really hot. It's shiny, so it doesn't reflect the heat as good as something black. But that worked out really well. All of our piping turned out good. Now we can button everything up, and we'll be ready to ride again. Well, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.